In this section, we're going to start the first of our sections, which talk about the angle, sum, and difference formulas. So in this section, we're going to look at what is cosine of A plus B. And the first thing we want to point out is that this is not cosine of A plus cosine of B. To verify that, all you need to do is put some actual values in, and you'll see that these are not equal to each other. Cosine does not distribute. So our formulas are cosine of A plus B is going to be cosine of A times the cosine of B. And then we're going to take the opposite arithmetic symbol. So instead of adding, we're going to subtract sine of A, sine of B. And then we have a very similar formula for the cosine of A minus B. This is cosine of A, cosine of B. We still take the opposite symbol. So there it was subtraction. So now we're going to add sine of A, sine of B. So one of the things we can be asked to do is find an exact value for the cosine of pi over 12. Now we could type that in our calculator, but I doubt any of us can take the decimal the calculator gives and find the exact value for the cosine of pi over 12. So what I need to do, I need to think of some angles that when I can add or subtract them, I end up with pi over 12. So the first thing I think of is 12 is the least common denominator between 3 and 4. So if I look at pi over 3 and pi over 4, if I wanted to write those with a common denominator of 12, pi over 3, I have to multiply 3 by 4. So I have to multiply pi by 4 pi over 12. Pi over 4, I need to multiply 4 by 3. So I multiply pi by 3, and I get 3 pi. And it's now easy to see that I just should subtract 4 pi over 12 minus 3 pi over 12 to give me pi over 12. So cosine of pi over 12 is cosine of pi over 3 minus pi over 4. Then I use my formula, cosine of pi over 3, cosine of pi over 4, opposite arithmetic symbol, sine of pi over 3, sine of pi over 4. Cosine of pi over 3 is 1/2. Cosine of pi over 4 is square root of 2 over 2. Sine of pi over 3 is square root of 3 over 2. Sine of pi over 4 is square root of 2 over 2. So I get square root of 2 over 4 plus square root of 6 over 4. Because the 3 is under the radical and the 2 is under the radical, I can multiply both of them. So when I simplify this, I get the square root of 2 plus the square root of 6 over 4.